Good morning. Hey, Todd Clausen here again, technical agronomist with DeKalb and Asgrow. Coming to you from, let me think where I am this morning. I am east of Grand Junction, west of Beaver, here somewhere in far eastern Greene County, far western Boone County. Corn's moving pretty good. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news all the time, but today I think corn looks pretty good. We're moving rapidly. I've got a corn plant here that happens to be V8, almost V9, which means a couple things. No more herbicide applications on these things. It's going to move fast at this point in time. Fast in the respect of it'll put a leaf on every 3 days. At V9, if this is a 20-leaf hybrid, calculate out when's this going to tassel? About 34 to 35 days in theory. Several things happening. If you recall back, we've had some rootless corn syndrome, which affects the crown. And this crown here is still pretty affected because it's fairly dry, although you've had anywhere from a ½ inch to 3/4 of an inch, maybe up to an inch. But I also see this, good things, is I've got brace roots coming out of the 6th node, and I see, here's my 6th node. These are brace roots, and they're no longer crown roots. And then you can see the 7th node starting to protrude here, and I'm going to get another set of brace roots out of that. My growing point, I can see my 8th node there. My growing point is up in here somewhere. So my growing point's out of the ground, and this plant's getting somewhat susceptible, to wind, because that growing point, as it grows really fast, can get kind of rigid, and it can, at times, it can snap. And so I look at this thing, and I've got growing point coming way up this thing. Let me cut this down. So my growing point, here's soil surface. This is all stock tissue here. My growing point sits right here. So that's a good 6-7 inches above the soil surface. And I would, if I could pull this out and show it to you under a microscope, you'd find that it's a perfectly intact tassel. So anyway, corn's moving rapidly. Corn can use some moisture. Corn is into a real rapid phase of nutrient uptake also, nitrogen specifically. Always the later I can apply nitrogen is better for corn, where and when it needs it. There's several other things happening that I'm getting calls on in corn. If I can find the plants here that I pulled out. I've got some tissue. That are showing some abrasions. As an example, this isn't a severe example, and I can find some severe examples. But I mean, people are thinking, well, is this a herbicide? Is it a disease? What's the problem here? And they're very light abrasions, but where the abrasions are heavier, I'm getting a lot of concern and a lot of calls on it. Well, it simply happens to be abrasion of the leaf tissue. I'll give you an example. I always use scissors, and with all the winds that we've had, that's not a bad example. With the winds that we've had, it's depositing dirt. You see the dirt that's down. All this is wrapped up leaf tissue. It's just all really tight. And there's soil particles, and there's dirt down there. Well, this tissue is very, very pliable. And as it turns and unfolds, these leaves come out, but the abrasion of those soil particles, like you see right there, that scratches this tissue. And in some situations, it can really show some hard abrasion on that leaf tissue. And there's some concern out there, but really this is no big deal. It's not costing you anything as far as yield potential is concerned. And if you look at even some of the most severe plants, it might be a 0.5% leaf area loss. So not a big deal. I'm not concerned about too many things today outside of let's get some more rain. And this corn's going to move rapidly. So, again, at V7 and V8, herbicides are shutting off. And it's time to sit back and watch this corn go fast and furious, because that's what it's going to do. Let's keep our winds light and keep our moisture abundant. Again, I'm Todd Clausen. I'm a technical agronomist coming to you with a Monday morning alert, June 4, 2012 from Bloomgren Seed in Boone, Iowa. Thank you.